Welcome back. Today we are going to build the first walls of the house. Now that the subfloor is complete and detailed, we're ready to put up the first walls, but let's take a look at what we're going to do first. So this is where we left off. The subfloor is now complete and we've detailed it and we're ready to put up the first walls. We're going to start with the shortest wall in the house, and it's going to be the wall on the front here, as you can see now. And normally you would build this entire wall on the ground and lift it in place with 3 or 4 people, or several wall jacks or something to that effect. Since I'm working by myself, I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm going to actually build this wall in 3 different sections, and I'm going to do that by adding a extra stud or an extra king stud next to the windows or doors as necessary, in order to make a section that I can just raise up and then marry together with the next section. In order to do that, I'll start with the bottom plate and a single top plate, and then I'll add the double top plate across the entire piece and layer over the sections of top plate where the walls come together. This will result in a more manageable build and will certainly reduce but not eliminate the need for additional assistance in trying to get these walls up. So let's get started. So this will be the shortest wall in the house, as I mentioned, and this will be about 9 feet tall, and this section is actually going to be about 9 feet wide as well. This is a good and easy place to start because this section of the wall doesn't have any windows, so all I really need to do is get the right height, make sure it's level and square, and that'll be a good foundation for the remainder of the wall sections that I need to build for this particular side of the house. As mentioned in the last video, we've eliminated most of the leveling issues. We were still off by about a ½ inch, and so I will be making some adjustments to the studs themselves so that the top plate is in fact perfectly level. This will be particularly important because we have a single slope roof that will start on this wall. It will be caught by a mid wall and then continue on to the deck side wall, and we want all 3 of those walls to be perfectly spaced and also perfectly level so that the pitch of the roof is accurate from side to side. Because there are no windows in this wall or any headers of any kind, there's really no lateral stability, so I'm going to add a brace across here. And what I'm doing right now is just checking for square, so I'm just doing a 3, 4, 5 method, measuring 3 feet down one wall, 4 feet on the top plate, and then looking for 5 feet from point to point to make sure that the wall itself is square. So now that that's done, I can secure the brace and be pretty confident that this is a square section of wall, and then I can raise that to its proper location. As you saw in the model, the second section of wall does have a window, so I'm preparing a triple header for the window. It's not necessary, but because I have 2x6 walls, I have the room for it, and I'd rather just overbuild it a little bit. I did get some feedback from one of the viewers that when you're building headers or laminating 2x12s or 2x10s in this case, that it's a good idea to put OSB in between. I don't disagree with that, and I think I probably will start doing that in the future, but for now I'd already built this one, and I think it'll be more than sufficient for what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do. It's clearly overbuilt for the span that I'm doing, but the OSB does provide additional stability for the header and reduces the possibility for it deflecting or moving in the future. But it's also pretty common to build these headers with foam in between for insulation. So for these short spans, this will be more than sufficient. So you can see I've got the first wall up and braced, and it is plumb and square. And I have most of the studs and cripples and jack studs cut, and I'm just assembling those now for the second section. I will mention that I did build this entire model in SketchUp for the whole house. I designed the entire house top to bottom, but I did send that design to an architect, and we put it in models and made sure that all the engineering was correct. And the other nice thing about the architect is they can optimize floor plans just because they have more experience doing it, so that you're making the best use of space, especially in a house like this. Things like where the stairs are located and how the rooms flow together. It's just something that they can provide more expertise on. And in addition to expertise on that, it results in a build plan. So I've got, all of the proper engineering specs and the floor plans and roof plans and things like that. So having that architectural step is really important. I assembled the header as you saw, and now I'm adding both a top and a bottom plate to that header. In the future, I'm going to do that all at one time as opposed to doing it on the ground, because then you can just kind of slip the whole header section into this wall section, and it makes it just a little bit easier when you're nailing them together on the ground. I will point out that window. It's a narrow window that'll be in the kitchen. It'll be over the kitchen sink. And the architect put it in here the way that he did, and it seemed fine at the time, but you're going to see that I ended up rebuilding that, because once the wall was raised, it was clear to me that the top of the window was actually below my eye line. And so you're kind of looking into the ground from the house, and I wanted a bit more visibility on the driveway and into the woods. So I actually end up taking this wall back down, even though I've just raised it. I'm pretty happy with it, but I just was not happy with the height of that window. So I ended up doubling the window size. I just pulled the wall back down, made the decision that I'm not going to put up something that I'm not happy with. And it's a nice thing about building by yourself, because I don't have to struggle with a builder and saying, well, I understand this is what the plan said, but this actually doesn't work with what we want. And then you'd have to sort of argue with them about whether or not they're going to rebuild it, or whether you're going to pay them to do it, or that sort of stuff. So in this case, it just wasn't what I wanted. So I dropped the wall and rebuilt it with a slightly bigger window. We haven't ordered windows yet, so no concerns from that perspective. And ultimately, I'm just going to be much happier with this particular setup. So now I'm just going to add some bracing to this wall to keep it in place. And I will also be clamping together the sections of the wall that marry up, that I put up, and just to make sure that those studs are nice and tight. And then I'll secure them as well all the way up and down, so that we have no space in between them. And then just double checking plumb and level on that as well. So here I'm building another header for the passageway. And I call it a passageway. It's not a door. We'll actually be building out a porch section that will include part of the house, which will be a mudroom, and then a short porch on the outside of that. So this header that I'm creating is actually just going to be a passageway from the mudroom into the main part of the house once that porch section is built. I don't have a close-up of this, but you can see on the bottom side that I have the bottom plate and the top plate married up together and nailed temporarily, so that I can mark out where the studs are going to be 16-inch center, but where also the king and the jack studs will be for the various sections. And then I'll pull up the top plate and move it to the top. But that just sort of ensures that the spacing is correct both on the bottom of the top plate, and you don't have to do a bunch of measuring or snapping lines in order to ensure that the studs and the wall is straight in general. So that's generally the accepted way to go, and it certainly makes things faster. It's a great layout method. I also met up with our bulldozer guy, and he's going to be coming in and backfilling this front part of the house in the next couple of weeks. So I look forward to being able to get materials up to this height a little bit more easily, and it'll also give me the dirt that I need to start putting in the footers and the floor sections for that front mudroom and porch section that I mentioned. But before I actually pour those footers, we'll let the backfill set for a little while, and he's going to be coming back to do the septic as well. And we're going to compact that backfill a couple of times before I put in those footers, just to make sure that that dirt and that backfill is properly compacted so that it doesn't move after we put in the footers. So if you recall, that first section of wall I put up was 9 feet tall and about 9 feet wide. This section is also 9 feet tall and is about 15.5 feet wide. I actually don't know what my limitations are for being able to put up a wall by myself. I thought this might be under that limitation through nothing more than guesswork, and I was off by a pretty fair amount. So I'm going to need some help getting this one up. I tried to do it myself, but one tug pretty much told me that yeah, this is well beyond my ability to put up by myself without wall jacks or assistance. Luckily, I have some very, very nice neighbors, and they're just more than willing to help out on anything I'm willing to do. And part of the trade there is that they're also doing things, and I'm always happy to help them out as well. That's one of the reasons we love living here on the ridge, is that everyone treats this as a real community. You know, I know and interact with the neighbors on this ridge more than I've ever interacted with any other neighbors that I've had in any other neighborhood that I've ever lived in. And that doesn't mean that we don't have great affection for a lot of our previous neighbors. We still keep in contact with a lot of them, but it's just a little bit different way of living and interacting with the people that you know. This is Tom. He's one of the neighbors from across the road. As soon as he saw what I was doing, he's like, yeah, let me know. I'll come and help. And he did. And it only took us about 15 minutes to get the wall up and get it secured and braced and put in place. And I couldn't have done this without him or without several wall jacks, which I don't have yet. And the reason I haven't purchased wall jacks is just because every single wall in this house is different. And there's going to be a lot of rake walls, and there's going to be a lot of very tall walls that wall jacks don't work well for. So a lot of the walls will get built in place, and each wall will just have to be treated sort of individually based on the need for that particular wall. But in this case, this worked out really well, and we've got this first wall up, and this will set the tone for the rest of the build. I'm adding these top cripples and bottom cripples. I didn't put these in when the wall was on the ground, but they do marry up with the 16-inch spacing on center from the corner of the house, and so I wanted to add these just to make sure that I have the proper spacing and so that the exterior sheathing lands correctly on the studs for nailing purposes. So now the wall is up and complete and looks suspiciously like the model that we created, which is what we want, except for that window that I had to expand. This is where I'm at. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.